commenting on style and atmosphere. Dear guys, in addition to our previously discussed literary components like setting and plot and characters, characterizations, and atmosphere or structure, we can also think about commenting on style and atmosphere of a literary work, right? And the idea is that you are not using any particular literary theory or critical theory, but you are just appreciating a piece of literature while just commenting on the style of the author, the writer, and then also about the atmosphere of the literary work under discussion. Okay, so in this session we are going to talk about some responses which could be added and with which we can start exploring our literary works with a very basic level, a very beginner's level research on literary works, right? So the idea is that the style of a literary work is basically about the distinctive handling of language, right? The handling of language by the author, right? So how is that language, played by the author, right? Maybe like the playfulness or like the the tone of the author, okay, and what kind of verbosity is there? Is it like irony or funny language is there, or the jokes are being told by the author? So what kind of language is being used, right? So the distinctive handling of language is about style, and there is a vast field of stylistics, by the way, which you can, explore further. But here I just want to comment on the basic level exploration which is possible on any literary work. And the idea is that you would talk about the choice of words, right? So is the choice of words typical, distinctive? And in most cases, yes, it is typical and distinctive, because some writers, they go for choosing very simple words. Others, or maybe the same authors, in some other context, they would be using highly verbose, highly condensed, and very typical terminology, right? So the choice of words, then the choice of sentences, simple sentences or complex sentences, right? And then also the paragraphs, and then the dialogue. So the choice of phrases, the choice of words, the choice of sounds with a particular aim, or maybe your understanding of that particular choice of words, okay? So you can also talk about the arrangement of words. Like if it's a poetry, you can talk about, in a sense, like the consonants, you see, and like the typical arrangement of consonantal sounds, and then of that vowel sounds, okay? So you would be talking about the arrangements, then the arrangements in terms of sounds, then words, and then syllables, okay? Like we have a typical, blank verse. So that's about the arrangement of sounds, right? And then we also have, particular kinds of poetic devices which are just created on the basis of the arrangements of sounds, right? So you can talk about the arrangements of words and sounds, and then the tone of the author, right? The writer, which may be reflected in the tone of the characters, right, in the work, and that could be explored. And then what's the mood of the overall environment, right? The setting or in the scene. So you can talk about the mood as well, and you can also talk about the imagery, those images which are used, the very painting words which is used by the authors, the writers. So these are some of the possibilities, and sound effects and other devices could also be explored in this component which is called style, right? So in style, you are using various devices, various patterns, various trends in order to explore a particular piece of literature. And then atmosphere can also be used as a basic level exploration of a piece of literature. When you start exploring the mood of any piece of literature, right? The overall mood, the dialogues, and the language which is used, And then this overall atmosphere can also have, emotional effect. So what is the emotional effect of that? And then the prevailing emotional era in the play, in the scene, the specific emotional scene, and then the general background of the emotional, sensational atmosphere, which is given in the piece of literature. And atmosphere is, one of the very basic, very common ingredients of literature. So you can comment on it and you can talk about it. And it is created through several, factors, the mood, with the help of language, appearance, colors, background colors, and sounds, the sounds effect. So the mood is actually, the atmosphere is actually a collection of so many devices, right? The props, the dresses, the overall look, the background, and of course the lights and sounds, like the thrilling or the suspenseful atmosphere. So you can talk about these, components in your exploration of a very basic level about a particular piece of literature.